Tax Technologies Incorporated developed eFileReviewer so that companies can review the content of the XML file they produce for filing with the IRS in an easy-to-read PDF format. Why should I use eFileReviewer? Because the tax return your corporation is filing with the IRS is not the paper tax return form, but an electronic XML file. Someone needs to review the XML file itself to make sure the content contains accurate tax return data. Unfortunately, most tax professionals cannot review the content of an XML file because it contains structured text data that looks like programming language rather than a tax form. eFileReviewer allows companies to import XML files that are based on IRS modernized eFile specifications and creates a PDF of their tax forms. Tax professionals can then compare this PDF of their tax forms produced from eFileReviewer to the paper tax returns produced by their tax compliance software before it is submitted to the IRS. eFileReviewer is a web-native standalone application that is accessible from any computer with Internet access. Therefore, you are not required to install the application or maintain the software by loading updates or new versions. Licensed clients will receive 2 emails from a Tax Technologies support team representative. One contains the eFileReviewer URL address and user ID, and the other contains the user password. Enter your user ID and password and click Login. You will now be directed to the eFileReviewer homepage. Using eFileReviewer is as easy as 1, 2, 3. The home page indicates the 3 easy steps necessary to convert the XML file into a PDF file. Step 1. Upload the XML file. Step 2. Select the forms and/or attachments to include in your review. Step 3. Generate a PDF file to review. The status section at the bottom of the home page will display PDF files that were previously generated in eFileReviewer. It shows the date and time the file was generated, description or name of the file generated, and the status of the file. In this status area, you can review the tax returns and statements in PDF file format. To perform the first step to upload the XML file, follow these simple instructions. 1. Click Upload Now, located in the top right side of the eFileReviewer homepage. On this page, you can browse to find the XML file on your local or network drive. 2. Click Browse. The Choose File screen opens. 3. Navigate to the XML file you want to upload and click Open. The path of the file you selected now appears in the File to Import box. Notice the gear located in the blue header on this page. This gear indicates where you are within eFileReviewer. You are at the Upload, Select, or Generate stage. At this point, you are still in the upload stage. 4. Click Submit. Once you click Submit, the content of the XML file is uploaded into eFileReviewer, and a list of forms and schedules you can select for review appear on the Document List page. On the Document List page, you will see all the forms and documents contained in the XML file. The forms and documents you select on this page will be included in the PDF file that you will generate, so that you can easily review the XML data content in tax return forms. Now complete the second step by selecting the forms and/or documents you want to include in the PDF. 1. Select the option box next to the forms and/or documents you want to include in the PDF, or select the Select All Documents for All Returns option box to include all of the forms and documents listed. 2. Name the PDF file by entering a description in the enter a description for this PDF box. Note, it is a good practice to name these files with version identification because most users will need to review the content of the XML files during the course of their current year tax compliance. On this page, you can also access the XML data for each form or document by clicking on that particular form or document hyperlink. This page displays the XML data as it appears within the eFileReviewer and is for informational purposes only. Therefore, you are not required to take any action on this page. However, you can examine the data elements which populate the form or document selected. By clicking Return to Document List, you will return to the Document List page. For the third and final step, you will generate the PDF. On the Document List page, click Generate PDF. The View Queued Operations Details screen opens and displays the status of your operation. eFileReviewer will now begin the process of generating the PDF file based on the forms and documents you selected. On this page, you can see the status of the process to generate the forms and documents into a PDF file. Although this page automatically refreshes every 15 seconds, you can manually refresh it by clicking the Click here to manually refresh hyperlink. Once the generate process starts, you do not have to wait for the server to finish generating the file. You can log out and return when you want. For large tax returns with 1,000 or more pages, it may take a few minutes to produce the PDF file. In the Queued Operations Status box, eFileReviewer will provide information as to when you submitted, started, and last updated the generation process. You can also see this process starting, % complete, and finally, when the operation has successfully completed, Succeeded will appear. Once you see the Succeeded status, click the Return to eFileReviewer hyperlink to return to the eFileReviewer home page. You are now ready to review the content of the XML file on the tax forms and documents. The PDF you just generated now appears in the Status section of the eFileReviewer homepage. The date and time you generated the PDF file and the file name displays. To view the tax return or document, click the View PDF hyperlink. Adobe Acrobat opens and displays the forms and schedules generated from eFileReviewer. You can now review the information presented in the PDF file, print it, and compare it to the data produced in your tax compliance software. You can also save the PDF file to your hard drive or network. Saving the PDF for the final XML file submitted to the IRS is an effective way to create a PDF version of the as filed copy to the IRS. By using eFileReviewer and performing this simple and easy three-step process, companies can review the content of an XML file using the tax forms in PDF format, create a PDF version of the as filed return so it can be used for audit purposes. If you are interested in learning more about eFileReviewer, please contact a TTI sales representative at 1-866-239-4884 or send an email to sales@taxtechnologies.com. Thank you for taking the time to learn about eFileReviewer. We look forward to working with you.